Chapter 5. 5 Commandments. Within each story unit, we find a pattern of change we call the 5 Commandments of storytelling. Now that we know about universal human values, story events, and how to identify the value shift so you can boil down thousands of words of narrative into a single sentence or phrase, we can take a look at the final first principle, which is one you'll apply every time you sit down to sketch out a beat or scene, or a foolscap for an entire novel. In this principle, we incorporate patterns of change in our stories by identifying the 5 commandments of storytelling. The inciting incident, which kicks off the action. The turning point progressive complication, also called the fear with a PH. An unexpected event that turns the human value at stake in the scene and gives rise to the crisis, which is a dilemma about how to confront the unexpected event. The climax, which is the decision and action a character takes in response to the crisis. And the resolution, which is the outcome of the action of the climax. Commandment 1. Inciting Incident. You must have an inciting incident. It should be based on a change in a universal human value. Something happens that leads to an imbalance in the life of your protagonist or group of protagonists, and that leads the character or characters to adopt the goal they'll pursue throughout the story or unit of story. The incident should be as simple as waking up in the morning or as complex as being served legal papers for an upcoming divorce at breakfast. In the first scene of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the inciting incident is a cyclone approaches a one-room farmhouse on the wide-open Kansas plains. Commandment 2. Turning point progressive complication, fear. Progressive complications happen when something in the environment responds to the protagonist or point of view character's pursuit of a goal. The complications could be obstacles that stand in the way of achieving the goal or tools to help achieve the goal. One particular complication, an unexpected event, allows the character to make sense of the inciting incident in a new way. It might be an action or a revelation in the mind of the character. This is the turning point progressive complication. We now often refer to this as the fear because it's like an unexpected ball of chaos, much like the golden snitch in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter novels. The fear creates a situation that keeps the protagonist from reaching their goal in the way they'd planned, sparking the crisis. In the first scene of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the turning point progressive complication, or fear, happens when Toto the dog leaps from Dorothy's arms as she moves toward the cellar door and safety. Toto's unexpected disobedience is the active turn in the story that changes the life value from safe and alive to in danger and close to death. Commandment 3. Crisis. You must have a crisis. To put it simply, a crisis boils down to an either-or question, a dilemma that might be large or small depending on the story unit, but forces a choice. The character will have to choose between negative options, a best bad choice, or between options that may be good for one party and bad for another, irreconcilable goods choice. In the first scene of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the crisis is the best bad choice. If Dorothy turns back to fetch Toto, it's likely that she will endanger herself. If she doesn't, Toto is certain to die. Commandment 4. Climax. You must have a climax. The climax of a story is the decision and action the character takes when faced with their best bad choice or irreconcilable goods choice. In the first scene of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the climax is Dorothy rescues Toto. Commandment 5. Resolution. You must have a resolution. A resolution happens in the environment as a result of the climactic action. We always need to know the result of the choice. In the first scene of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, the resolution is that the farmhouse is lifted off the ground by the cyclone with Dorothy and Toto still inside. The 5 Commandments in Scene 1 of The Silence of the Lambs. Inciting Incident. Section Chief Jack Crawford summons Starling, an FBI trainee, to his office. Turning point progressive complication, fear. Crawford offers Starling the assignment to interview Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Crisis, best bad choice. Does she agree to the assignment or decline? If she declines, she probably won't get another assignment, but if she accepts, she will be vulnerable to a dangerous serial killer. Climax. Starling accepts the assignment. Resolution. Crawford explains details of Lecter's cases, warns Starling not to deviate from procedure, and tells her she wasn't chosen at random. The 5 Commandments in Scene 1 of Pride and Prejudice. Inciting Incident. A bachelor has rented a nearby manor. The turning point progressive complication, fear. Social convention requires the family to be formally introduced. The Bennett girls cannot meet Mr. Bingley until their father does, and Mr. Bennet is showing no interest in making the man's acquaintance, which is entirely unexpected, given the prospects for his unmarried daughters. Crisis. Irreconcilable goods choice. Mr. Bennet can continue to enjoy his private time, or agree to go meet Mr. Bingley. Climax. Mr. Bennet refuses to visit Mr. Bingley. Resolution. The Bennet daughters will have no opportunity to meet Mr. Bingley. You'll find many more resources that explore the 5 Commandments on the StoryGrid website. A few that will get you started are the 5 Commandments of Storytelling, the 5 Commandments of Storytelling Revisited on the podcast, and a deeper dive into the 5 Commandments of Storytelling. And for an introduction to the concept of the fear, check out 5 Commandments and Fears by searching on the website.